So the topic has been given to me. This is basically that how this particular IAQ risk that is going to be happen here. Okay, so we manages the 5 lakhs plus square feet area in here in Pune. So we will talk about a few things that is being added with our organization, how it is going to help us. So I will cover few points. Okay, according to that. I'll take you to the one points, starting with the first point that, we see that basically that, why IAQ risks are often invisible yet critical to occupant health. So many of the times that we see that the pollutants are like, CO2, PM 2.5 and works and other microwaves are many of the time it is the colorless and the odorless, so we cannot identify that basically. So there are things basically that human senses are poor to detect that kind of a risk or the air quality is there at the environment. The third point what I can say here is health effects are gradually and non-specific: fatigue, headache and low focus. It is happening now because we know that the kind of air quality that is around us, it is not that healthier, okay, at all. And we can say that the problems are often blamed on stress and the workload, but definitely nobody look at the one angle that is called the air. But definitely we have to have that one particular thing that is called the air quality has to be improved. Okay. Along with that, I can say one more point here. It is long-term exposure impacts that, respiratory health. So we can see that there are so many cases has been identified. I know there are multiple things have been identified that, everybody is impacting their, respiratory systems. And many are the cases are, we can see that in the, smaller kids also nowadays, because of the environment is impacting in such a way that, everybody is now having some difficulties to inhale. Basically, that is basic thing what human do. Okay, and immunity is going for a toss. So this kind of things are happening regularly, and that is around us only, okay, near to us. And the modern, what I can say, the pollutants are on a very larger side. So many cities in India that are not cross the limits basically. Okay, and one more point I would like to add here is AIQ becomes visible after only after compliance or illness. Then only we can identify that the air quality is damaged or it is not as per the standards. Okay, this is how basically that risk has been involved. Okay, and this is very important thing that this is impacting uh, everybody's health. Okay, if I cover the second point that is related to limitations or the traditional rule based IAQ monitoring system that what we have in the place now. So there are few things what we can talk about. One is ignore context such as occupancy, time and the activities. So there are many parameters. The occupancy of that particular area that we need to monitor, and what kind of a timings that is there in the office premises, that when the employees are there, and what kind of a monitoring what we are doing it, that has to be taken care of. So this particular thing, that traditional way what we are monitoring that, but is that the good thing that then we have to have some kind of additional things that we can monitor, okay, along with the AI. So rather, this is one more point I would like to add here, that is react after the problem occurs. Okay, and many of the times we see that there are some areas when we need to identify and then we have to give more attention to those areas. Okay, and then handle parameters individually, not together, but definitely it can be done together. And few things that generate frequent false alarm also because of some sort of pollution in that particular area, and many of the things these things are happening. So one big example I would like to add here, basically next to our building, okay, there is one construction going on, and that one more company is coming up with a new building. So because of that kind of a dismantling is happening in that area. Okay, so our outside of the cafeteria, that alarms has popped up, and everybody that we have to having that client visits in the area and other stuff, we have to evacuate that building. This has happened last week. And see, this kind of things are happening across us. Okay, that is still going on, and we can see that the poor identification of root cause, there are things are happening such way. Okay, along with that we can say often increase ventilation blindly and wasting energy. So many of the areas where we can see that the energy is being waste. Okay, so what kind of a role that sensors there in the capturing the real time, indoor air quality data. So if you talk about that, so I can tell you that continuously monitoring CO2, PM2, and VOC's temperature, humidity. This will definitely going to help everybody. Okay, in terms of monitoring these particular things to give that the air quality to our employees and other stuff. Okay, along with that, what we can say that this will definitely provide us the real-time visibility instead of the periodic checks. Many of the times we do our checks on a regularly as per our AMCs, and that has been planned on the regular basis. But apart from that, what we need to see that the real-time sensors-based monitoring that will give you the right kind of a data to analyze your patterns, and based on that and pattern you can actually do many of the things. Okay, so this is what one thing that everybody can get a benefit of the sensors rather than having all our planned activities. Okay, and then if you could what I would like to add one more point, detect sudden changes, okay, due to meetings or the activities or some sort of things are happening around us. Like we can see that in the festive season, let's take an example of Diwali. Okay, we can see there are so many changes happening across us. Okay, we can see that the kind of a poor quality around us, and similarly that impact is happening in our office premises as well, because that is the area basically been impacted always. So this kind of activities and things are happening across us. Okay, then we need to do one thing that is called the enable the zone level insights and not building averages. So we have to see that which area of our company where we can see that the kind of good quality of air we can provide to our employees, and that has to be monitored by that. And mainly I can say that make invisible risk measurables, and along with that we can say feed live data to HVAC, BMS, and the AI system. So that will definitely improve our efficiency and give that kind of a quality to our environment. Okay, that is what we can see here. From the entire these details, that will definitely going to help everybody about all the sensors that been installed in the office premises. If I talk about that, how AI detects abnormal IAQs patterns before thresholds or crossed. So many of the times we see that AI learns so many things. Okay, it is not about that one thing that is there in the system, but definitely whenever we talk about the AI is playing a very vital role. Okay, and this vital role, okay, that talks about that the behavior looks like per space. So focus on the rate of changes, not just like absolute values, but definitely this will help us. Then again, we have the detects CO2 rising factor than the usual. If we come across any kind of a thing, so definitely this is going to be threshold 2 and across all the areas. Okay, then identifies abnormal leakage after occupancy drops. We can do that monitoring as well. Okay, correlates multiple parameters together. Then, along with that, add-ons contests like time, occupancy, HYC mode, that also been monitored here. And we can raise early warnings also. Okay, we can say that these are the areas where that's been impacted. So definitely that can help us to improve on those particular points. So if I talk about the predictive analytics for forecasting air quality, deteriorations. So this particular things is going to happen like, we have that real-time data as well as the historical data. So what AI do basically, that is based on the data that is there in the system, that analyzes that, what is our pattern for last couple of months. Okay, based on that, that will give you the number of times how that performed, and based on that we can do the monitoring. So along with that we can say that the forecast of that IAQs will be we can say that 10 to 30 minutes it will take, not more than that. But definitely anticipate CO2 exceedance before it happens. That is also one thing what we can cover here. Account for occupancy patterns and schedule also can be monitored. So we know that which area has been occupied by our employees, and based on that we can give that monitoring through our system. This is one thing what we can say here. Then reduces the discomfort and cognitive drops. That is also taken care by here. Avoids last minute energy intensive actions. Okay, shifts IAQ management from reactive to proactive. So when we know that the data is there in the system, and based on the data, we can do many things. Okay. So this is going to help us to give that productive things to our employees, and, have the environment healthier. So if I talk about that, the AI-driven root cause analysis of IAQ's issues. So see, many of the times we say that, we goes behind and what happens and why it happened. Okay, so there are two questions has been asked always. So there are things is there, like, we can say that correct, let's IAQ data with HVAC operations. So this will again give you the insight about all that the information that is gathered in this system. Okay, then distinguish between the occupancy and the ventilation failure. So this is one of the reason what we can say that analysis can help us to give this kind of details to us. Okay, then again, what one point we can add here is that is identify the outdoor pollutions. Okay, increases versus internal sources. So we know that the outside pollution is actually increasing on day on day basis, but definitely same time the internal sources also need to be monitored, because many of the times we say few areas we can see that, but now we have started that planting the tree inside the office areas. Okay, that internal source is being giving that kind of air ventilation here. Okay, and one more thing would like to add here with that, reduce trial and error troubleshootings. So that is one thing that everybody can see here. Along with that, I will take up the next point, that is integration of AI with HVAC and the building management system. This particular point I would like to tell you that census data collection plus AI analysis plus HVAC executes. If we club all together, so this will help us to monitor all our patterns basically. So wherever that occupancy is there on the floor, so because we are spread across on all two buildings and different floors, so we don't know that what are the occupancy in that particular floors. But definitely if that AI is there in the system, so sensors are monitor those kind of patterns, and wherever that occupancy has been monitored, that will definitely share to the system that called the AI analysis, and that analysis will integrated with HVAC system, and this will give you the best output of that particular activity if we all collaborate with all these sources. And the last and the most thing that is measurable ROI, because everybody talks about that the ROI. So what is our ROI that we need to see? That we have to see that IAQ's energy and the compliance that has to be there, and based on this AIQ, definitely we will achieve our goals that is set for us to save the energy and our commercial fronts. So this is what I can share with our team here on this call.